Okay, we're about 3 minutes past the hour here. I was giving everybody a couple minutes to join in if they were coming a couple minutes late. My name is Keith Bell. I'm CEO and founder of MTS IT Solutions. And I just want to take a moment to thank you all for showing up here today to watch our webinar on why you need a cybersecurity risk assessment. You guys are all very busy, but this is a very important aspect of your business. So I appreciate you being here. I'm going to go ahead and stop my video now so that we can display full screen here, the presentation. Okay. Okay, so we're going to here talk to you today about why you need a cybersecurity risk assessment. Cyber attacks are increasing daily, and you need to know if you're prepared. Okay, so first off, let's like to welcome you once again. I'd like to start off by going over why are you here? Well, you're probably here because you're either a small to medium-sized business and possibly South Central PA or the greater Baltimore, Maryland area. And you want to make sure that you're protected against rising cyber attacks on small businesses just like yours. Okay, maybe you already have an existing IT department. Maybe you don't. Maybe you already have cyber insurance. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're just starting to realize that things are really changing in the cyber landscape and they aren't the way they used to be. And you're just trying to get a grip on how things are now and what you need to do to get your organization protected. So do me a favor, just go ahead and put a thing in the chat there. Put a yes in the chat if that sounds like this might be you or your organization. Okay, so who is MTS IT Solutions? You might be asking who we are and why should you even listen to us? Well, the answer to that is that we're a cybersecurity focused IT firm that specializes in white glove IT services, client support, and cyber risk mitigation for businesses just like yours. Our mission here at MTS IT Solutions is to grow your revenue through technology and protect your business reputation so that you can get back to focusing on what truly matters, running your business and making money. Okay, so we do specialize in small to medium businesses with a white glove approach, and we're based locally here out of South Central Pennsylvania, just across the Maryland line, though we do currently also serve clients nationwide. So if you're not in that specific geographic region that we just mentioned, it's not a problem. We can still help you guys out. Okay, so let's talk about the agenda. So we're here today to give you a brief overview of how things have changed, what these new threats mean to your company, and how we can protect your business from cyber criminals and scam tactics. We're also going to go ahead and show you what exactly a CSRA is, or a cybersecurity risk assessment, and why your company needs one right now. We're also going to touch on timelines, what to expect in the process, as well as what the very next step is to get your business covered and to also better mitigate your cyber risk. So why should you listen to us? Why should you listen to MTS IT Solutions? Well, cyber attacks happen all the time, everywhere, every day. I think we all are hearing this so frequently on the news now that we just think to ourselves, well, that's another one. It's just the way it is, and there's nothing we can do about it. Well, that's not true at all. And it absolutely does not have to be. So I'll give you a quick story here. We had a prospect that come to us that was not yet a client. And they said, help, we've been getting hacked and scammed and we've already lost so much money. What can you do for us? So I said, okay, well, first of all, like, what's the size of your business? How many employees do you have? They said they had about 18 employees. And I said, okay, well, if you don't mind me asking, how much money did your company actually lose? And the answer was $50,000, but it happened 3 times. $150,000 was extorted from this company. They said, we can't afford for this to happen again, or we're going to go out of business. Of course, I said, man, I'm so sorry this happened to you, but yes, we can help you out. And so we did. We did a risk assessment for them. We discovered the root cause for the incidents. We resolved them, and they've been one of our favorite clients to work with ever since. So fast forward to today, it's been almost 2 years now since they initially came to us, and they haven't been a victim of cyber attack or corporate espionage since then. This stuff is real. It's scary. It's evil, and unfortunately, it's ongoing. It takes a whole new level of systems awareness and especially expertise to be able to combat against these type of attacks. It takes a partnership with an IT firm that figuratively eats, sleeps, and breathes ways to combat against these threat actors and these cyber hack attempts. It just can't be done alone anymore. Things have definitely changed. So you keep hearing all this about a cybersecurity risk assessment. What exactly is a cybersecurity risk assessment? Well, it's an essential tool for identifying and addressing potential vulnerabilities in your organization's digital infrastructure. So, by regularly conducting a risk assessment, you can effectively protect your business from cyber threats such as data breaches, ransomware attacks, business email compromise, and all sorts of other forms of cyber crimes. Uh, Here's a few key reasons why your business needs a CSRA or a cybersecurity risk assessment. First thing is going to be to identify and prioritize the risks that you currently have. Risk assessment helps you identify the potential vulnerabilities and threats that could compromise your organization's data and systems. Now, by prioritizing these risks, you can focus on your resources. You can focus your resources on the most pressing issues and take steps to mitigate them first. Second thing would be we need to protect your assets. Cybersecurity risk can have serious consequences, including financial losses, reputational damage, even legal liabilities, and of course, downtime. A risk assessment helps you understand the potential impacts of those risks and steps you can take to prevent them from even occurring in the first place. The third thing would be to comply with regulations. Now, many industries have specific cybersecurity regulations in place, such as, like say, HIPAA for healthcare industry, PCI DSS for credit card processing industry, payment cards, and now even the FTC safeguards rules that has been recently pushed out for accounting firms, financial advisors, mortgage brokers, car dealerships, and the list goes on and on. So a risk assessment helps you ensure that your organization is compliant with these regulations and helps you avoid costly fines and penalties. And the fourth thing would be to improve efficiency by regularly conducting a risk assessment. You can identify and address potential vulnerabilities before they become major issues. This can help you avoid costly downtime. A cybersecurity risk assessment or a CSA really is a crucial step in protecting your business from the growing threat of cyber attacks. By regularly conducting these type of assessments, you can safeguard your assets, comply with regulations, and improve overall efficiencies in your business. So welcome to the framework. The framework is kind of what the four key areas of what we look at when we're conducting cybersecurity risk assessments and looking at what we need to protect. So we've got to protect the people, the processes, the technology, and the data. Well, you may be asking yourself, how the heck do we do that? Well, we implement our framework. Your greatest threat to your business is your people. And if they're not protected, that's where it all falls apart. I mean, it's clear that ransomware attacks are on a record setting pace for 2023. And based on the activity that we've seen up to the end of Q3 and even early in Q4, we fully expect these numbers to surpass anything we've witnessed in previous years. Over 90% of businesses that end up paying the ransom will get hacked again. What happens is they're put on a list on the dark web stating that you paid the ransom. So now all the threat actors know exactly what to expect from you, the payout. You're going to pay the ransom. So they're coming back after you again. And oddly enough, most organizations that get hacked don't make any changes to protect it from happening again. So, I mean, now, so even more today, like ransomware version 2.0, if you don't pay the ransom. That's okay. The attackers are just going to release all your sensitive information online, further damaging your reputation and compromising personal private information of your vendors, your clients, your customers, so on and so forth, as well as your employees. Um, so sometimes they'll put it out there for free, and sometimes they'll put it out there for the highest bidder. Then what they turn around and do is they report you to the authorities for not disclosing the attack in the first place. They do this by furnishing the evidence of their tactics, and the authorities can't catch them because they're slick. So instead, they turn their attention to you and give you all the fines for not reporting the breach. And this works because of breach notification laws, which are in place in each state, and each state has their own individual laws based around reporting breaches. So, does anybody remember that story about the burglar that fell through the skylight and like cut his leg on a knife or something that was sitting on the cutting board on the kitchen, sues the homeowner and wins the case? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of unfortunately the same thing like what we're talking about here. It's what these guys are doing. So, cyber attacks have probably already happened to most of the businesses or even people you know, but they're not talking about it. It's like, almost like it's a level of embarrassment. They don't want anybody to know. And they're also not reporting it to the authorities. Side note on that, please don't do that. That's very illegal. So, with over 50% of businesses having experienced at least one cyber attack in the last few years, there's never been a greater need to implement our framework. So, part one of our framework, we look at protecting the people. Why do we protect the people? That's easy. That's because they are the number one vulnerability in your business. Human error. 90% of cybersecurity breaches are due to human error. So how do we protect the people? Well, we implement business security policies so everyone understands and is on the same page by ongoing awareness training and testing. That's fun. It's not boring, and it won't put your people to sleep. Uh, by working with them one on one and interactively demonstrating why a certain thing might be malicious, by giving them the tools to be able to report on that activity on their own with a simple click of a button. They can simply click the button and an email gets shot out to our analyst center for review. Is it real? Is it legit? They don't know, but our analysts do, and we can tell them, giving them that assurance. By providing the best hands-on customer experience, we ensure that the people stay in communication. They want to talk to us so we can further help them stay more vigilant. And with MTS, you really do get state-of-the-art protection systems across multiple different vendors designed to attack these threat nuances from all angles and attack vectors. They're all managed and monitored by us to give you ease of use so that you only have to deal with one vendor, MTS. Now, I want to bring to light something that happened just last month. A user, newly employed by the company, new to the security, and for the record, this company was still going through onboarding with us at the time. Well, she got hit with a phishing email and it looked real enough. So she proceeded to log into the portal and access the line of business application. I think it was her email, if I remember correctly. So they were using it only as a legitimate login portal, and it was cleverly designed, fake, look-alike, designed to grab credentials from the unsuspecting users. Well, she basically handed over her credentials to her email, and the attackers went right to work. They captured her credentials and they forced a two-factor prompt to her phone. And because she thought she was logging into a legit portal, she allowed it through. She entered in the code and bingo, in. Yikes. So now at this point, I don't need to tell you what would have happened under most circumstances. I mean, she gave them the keys to the kingdom. This would have allowed the attacker direct access to her email, where they then have full reign to sift through all of her emails, download her entire mailbox for discovery later, grab all the SharePoint or OneDrive or Google Drive or Dropbox files, depending on whatever service you might be using. But they were able to force password resets for other services to her email, resetting passwords, getting access to other services and resources, because at this point, the attacker has everything they need. Well, Our IT augmentation and security team detected this nuanced login right away. And even though this gal let these attackers through, quite frankly, hook, line, and sinker, right, our threat protection protocols kicked in and we were able to immediately identify this login as attack, block the sign in, kill the attacker's session cookies, reset the password. Of course, we alerted the customers of what was going on. We relayed to them the new login credentials so that they could get back in to their systems and begin working again. We also went ahead and blacklisted the offending attackers' IP addresses, and we even performed an audit to confirm that no information was downloaded or maliciously exfiltrated from the network. Now, it's not really my intention to toot our own horn, really isn't. But honestly, I love this stuff, and I think this stuff is like really, really cool that we're able to have these tools and technologies in place to stop these attacks in their tracks before they can cause a lot of havoc on your network. This customer was so grateful, and I'm sure, despite having a lengthy, I'm sure, reprimanding conversation with her boss, you know, explaining to her she needs to follow proper protocols and security channels. They were exceedingly happy and they couldn't be more pleased with the end result. But long story short, at MTS, we've got your back for situations like this. So this just kind of proves that this stuff is going on. Here's a quick article about an accounting firm called B&K. They're still cleaning up the damage after their data breach. Now, not only they have names and payment information for their clients, they have birthdays, social security numbers, and that's basically PII or personal identifiable information, as well as PCI DSS. Some of the clients were actually healthcare companies, so there went the HIPAA violation as well. Now, what if this was your company on the front page of a cybersecurity magazine? How do you think that would impact your business? How do you think your clients might feel about this? Will they continue to work with you? Now, aside from this particular accounting firm, I do want to go ahead and share another little story about you about something that happened to somebody that we know. Somebody who thought she was too small and didn't want to have, quote unquote, all the bells and whistles. So this woman runs a real estate company, and in addition with assisting buyers with their new homes, she also helps them pre-qualify for mortgages. And she has deals with different various lenders. Well, she got hacked. Okay, she didn't have what she needed in place. We discussed it with her. We went through things thoroughly. We demonstrated exactly what was happening to her network and her cloud resources. And we even showed her where the attacks were attempting to come in from. And more specifically, what they were trying to get to. She chose not to move forward with any of the security that her business needed. Like many other business owners out there, she didn't realize how much things have changed in this cyber landscape online. She thought that she didn't really need to do anything different, that business as usual is still the way of the road, that she didn't really need to change up any of her processes or put any additional controls in place. Well, the worst happened, of course. A successful business email compromise attack came through, and now these attackers were able to infiltrate her email, maliciously exfiltrate numerous buyer records, sensitive emails containing payment information, wiring instructions, social security numbers, credit applications, etc. I mean, you name it, she had it. They even got her own identity because she had copies of her driver's license and tax records that she had sent to her accountant earlier that year. Okay, think about all that stuff you have in your email: potential credit reports, accounting documents, tax records, etc. So not only was she terribly affected and may still even be dealing with the identity theft in the aftermath of this particular attack, but is even more widespread. So believe it or not, the story gets even worse. The attack didn't stop with just her. They turned their attention to all the vendors that she had worked with. Okay, these are the companies that she had alliances with to help her customers pre-qualify, among other things. Now, this woman's email was being used as a catalyst. Since she had all the access to all this information about these companies. She had their letterhead, their logos, their banking instructions, how they speak, who they talk to, what their processes are. Well, the attackers went right to work. They purchased similar lookalike domains. They put up fake lookalike websites and even made a fake loan portal that looked identical to the legit one. And they were able to convince several homeowners that they were this legit organization that they thought they were working with and was reaching out to attempt to resolve an escrow difference in balances. Well, what do you think happened to these homeowners? Well, of course, they unsuspectingly wired funds to these threat actors in fear of being not compliant with their current mortgage. They they had everything that made them look legit. They had looked like domain, email, wire instructions. They even had a local phone number redirecting to the scammers. These scammers made off with over $50,000. One woman, one email compromise. This ended up not only affecting herself, but the homeowners, the vendors, and it seriously soured a business reputation. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I've seen more than enough cyber claims and negligence litigation to know that this woman is actually liable for all this loss of data. And by refusing to take this more seriously and put in place additional safeguards and protections, she did, in fact, literally open herself up to multiple lawsuits. Frankly, for her negligence and failure to protect and safeguard her data as well as others, uh, this may sound harsh, and I don't want it to sound harsh, but this is absolutely how the cyber insurance companies look at it. And it's how your vendors and affiliates and partners will look at it as well. It's absolutely for sure. Uh, excuse me. It's absolutely for sure how your own customers are going to look at it when the worst happens in your business. I mean, these organizations she worked with them for years, and now nobody wants to work with her anymore. I mean, think about how you'd react. Wouldn't you distance yourself from a vendor that fell victim to a potential security compromise because they were just not paying attention, lost all your personal information? Now you have to deal with that. My point is that this is happening, and stories like this one are just becoming all too common. If we had our systems in place, this would have been stopped well before all this damage happened. And we know this because we actually did an incident response on this and we reported on it afterwards. So specifically, this incident would have been totally preventable. But instead, though, the threat actors and cyber attackers saw this as just yet another notch in their belt that they won. So part two of the framework, when we're looking at protecting your organization, is we need to protect the processes. We'll work with you to shore up your processes, help reduce the risk, and streamline for the future. We can assist you with implementing escalation policies where financial payouts, wiring money, vendor compensation, or any type of asset handling with individuals are better documented with identities being verified uh, and approved. A lot of times we put multiple people have to approve the process, not just one. That's a good stop factor there. We can assist with development of BYOD, or bring your own device policies, so employees and staff are aware of the risk of using their own personal devices like a cell phone or a tablet to conduct business. With a policy in place, we can help bring that risk factor down by having them agree to additional protections and security measures on their equipment to better protect the company that they work for, which is you in this case. We train the staff to get used to reporting suspicious activity with a click for triage and analysis, cutting down the chance that any wrongdoing can surface. Remember, we know your industries, we know what you use, and we know what it's used for. So that makes it much more simplistic to be able to safeguard that line of business application product the way that it's actually meant to be used. Moving right ahead here to part three, we're protecting the technology. By implementing advanced cyber protections comprising of a myriad of different vendors, all specializing in different areas of cyber vectors, custom tailored, ever evolving, constantly evaluated, tried and true, best in class security solutions that don't halt your business productivity. Better data management for the people, encryption and transmission, encryption of data at rest. We can better protect the data against hackers or even espionage. We'll have 24-hour eyes on your network and systems to keep them safe from people who shouldn't be looking at them, which is the bad guys. Management of your mobile devices and work from home equipment to better safeguard your business against disgruntled employees and attackers. Okay, just to name a few. Because remember, 60% of small businesses have to close their doors within 6 months of a cyber breach. The technologies that we offer can help prevent this. Okay, this brings us to part 4 of the framework, where we're protecting the data. By implementing the advanced cyber protections and multiple areas of cyber vector analysis, we are now free to focus on true business continuity planning, including data safeguards, immutable storage retention, automation, and of course, restoration. Ongoing monitoring against data failures, data loss prevention, management of total disaster recovery planning, management of all on-premise as well as cloud data intrusion prevention, monitoring for firewalls, security gateway appliances, and mobile endpoints. Also, ongoing dark web monitoring to alert and mitigate in case any type of sensitive data is leaked and published online where you definitely do not want people to find it. Data loss protections against remote access and shared company drive data, even cloud repositories, all logged, all monitored. Even data stored in your email, protected against multiple layers of security, multi-factor authentication, and all being monitored by a 24/7, 365-day a year security operations center. Now, this slide here is a little story about a Albany-based accounting firm that was hit by a cyber attack, more specifically ransomware. They're still playing damage control, and this has been since 2020. Uh, Reacting to the aftermath of the attack, reassuring their clients that everything's fine, and they're hopefully putting in place better systems because we all know once you're hacked, you're very likely to continue to get hacked repeatedly. The same goes with scam tactics and all other various threat actor tricks. Now, this company is only a few hundred miles away, but I do want to tell you a story, and all these stories are true, actually. Um, I want to shift our focus to a small business that had to close their doors. This business was originally featured on Inc. as one of the fastest growing companies. They were well known in their community. They've been in business for like over 12 years. Well, they suffered a cyber attack. Their revenues were under 3 million. So they weren't too small to get hacked. They weren't a huge multi-million dollar or billion dollar organization. The cyber attack itself caused over millions of dollars in damages. Payment information, client vendor information, all divulged and harvested by the attackers. They had data on-prem, they had data in the cloud. It didn't matter. It never does. The attackers get you wherever you are if you don't have the proper protections and systems in place. Well, they had a production business, and the materials that they make were spoiled as a result of this attack. They couldn't use them, they couldn't sell them, they had to halt production, and they could not produce for their clients. Their reputation was irrevocably damaged, and the reputation of their customers, their business clients, was damaged as a result. This stuff flows in all directions like liquid, right? So everyone they touched, everyone they served, all their impact was put to death by one cyber attack. And although efforts were made to stay afloat and recover from the damages, sadly, they had to close their doors, and 15 employees' livelihoods were affected as they were all let go as a result of this cyber attack. They were all forced to look for new jobs. And suddenly, everything that business owners have worked for through many of the things that you've likely had to also deal with in your business, like sleepless nights, the potential missed kid sports games, those precious family moments, bending over backwards for clients, the education that allowed them to thrive in their environment, even the freedom to do what they loved. That journey that had led them to this point was all gone in one cyber attack. What if those were your employees? What would you do? What could you have done better? Moving forward, now that you're better informed, what steps are you going to take now in your own business? Now, I'd like to get some feedback from you guys here. If you have any sort of feedback of what you're thinking of how you'd like to move forward, please go ahead and pop that in the chat for us. Needless to say, we're determined to ensure that this does not happen to you. Okay, so you might be wondering, how long will it take to perform this cybersecurity risk assessment and get the results back and start getting the ball rolling here? So, well, it depends. Typically, though, not that long. We start with a strategy session to discuss your pain points, what's worrying you, what scared you in the past, or maybe past incidents that you may have already had, as well as any goals or ultimate immediate factors that we may need to address right now. We'll discuss employee counts, system counts, revenue numbers, and from there, we're going to determine the best way to proceed. All decision makers must be present for this call. At the end of this call, we'll schedule the CSRA or Cybersecurity Risk Assessment on your business. All decision makers must also be present for the CSRA presentation. We want everybody on the same page. And what we found is things tend to get lost in translation. So if we have the receptionist trying to go back and recite everything we discussed here today to the CEO, it sort of tends to get a little lost in translation. It doesn't have quite the same impact of actually being in the meeting when we're presenting the findings of the vulnerabilities we're recognizing in your organization. Remember, the CSRA is an in-depth analysis of all things security, posture, and cyber health. It's an eye-opening presentation on exactly what your company's strengths and weaknesses are from a cybersecurity technological standpoint and what we can do to resolve those weaknesses. We present you your findings. We give you a blueprint, a roadmap to shore it all up. And then with your agreements, we can immediately proceed to onboarding after the presentation of the CSRA. That's where we begin our course of action. Start to finish, we can usually have the CSRA completed for you in about 3 weeks, depending on how complex your cyber environment looks like today and how vulnerable you might be. Now, after the CSRA, we begin onboarding immediately. The onboarding process typically takes about a month or so. And the reason why is because it's a pretty dramatic overhaul of existing technological processes, tool sets, and policies. But trust us, we make it as absolutely painless as possible and transparent to you and your employees. Okay. Our team is literally dedicated to your success, and it's our mission statement: growth through technology. We partner alongside you and your staff to deliver world-class IT solutions with a unique approach. You and your team will enjoy working with us. You have my word. One of our primary focuses is on white glove IT customer support. We just don't want to be your support team. We want to floor you with a one-of-a-kind support experience, and we do just that. So early in the presentation, we touched base a little bit about insurance. So here's the thing with insurance. Your general liability insurance is not going to cover you if you get hacked, scammed, and your data gets breached, you're hit with ransomware, any of the above. Your general liability, E&O, even your E&O and D&O policies, they're not going to cover you when any of the stuff we've been talking about happens today. This is why you need cyber insurance. The problem with cyber insurance is it's becoming much more detailed in the application process. The insurance companies are also asking more and more detailed questions about specific tools you have in place to protect your organization. And we find a lot of times if you don't have these tools in place, they don't want to insure you because you're too big of a risk to them. So what we have to do is we have to put these tools in place, and we have to show proof to the cyber insurance that we do in fact have these tools in place and that you are answering your application as true as possible. So we have the best chance of having a claim awarded in the unfortunate event if you were ever to be breached. So we'll go over all that sort of stuff with you in your strategy meeting, because honestly, it's just way too much to get into here. But suffice to say, your your cyber liability insurance provider needs to see that you have many different systems in place. I mean, I don't want to get too technical on you here, but they're looking for things like, do you have a 24/7 MDR? Do you have persistent threat hunting? Do you have EDR and XDR systems, SaaS cloud protections, continuous vulnerability scans, zero trust, security information and event monitoring, incident response, next gen AI threat management? And this is just a few, and the list goes on and on. Okay. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is that you may currently have an IT guy or gal that's you think's got you covered. But I'm just going to tell you, based on what we've seen, I'd say 1 out of every 10 IT firms are are actually providing these type cybersecurity services that they need to adequately protect their clients. So this is really scary, but it means that you've got about a 10% chance of finding a qualified IT services provider that can protect you as well as you need to be protected. And I think the reason why we're seeing this is because the majority of IT companies, they're just kind of starting to get their feet wet with the AI behavioral based endpoint protection, stuff like that, let alone all the individual areas that must be monitored, protected, mitigated against consistently in today's modern business world. Uh, IT companies and their clients are getting hacked all the time because they don't even understand how to manage their own threats. So how could they possibly be expected to manage yours? The truth is, many IT companies just don't have, number one, time, the skill set, or the desire to try to learn and stay up to date with this new threat landscape that we're seeing today. We've been in this space since the very beginning, and we're providing evolving top-notch security services to businesses for over 2 decades. We are well ahead of the curve, and we can help you so that you can stay protected against the zero-day threats of tomorrow. Okay, so we kind of laid out what a cybersecurity risk assessment is, what the framework is. So you're kind of wondering, okay, where do we go from here? So here's the thing: you could do it yourself, potentially piecemeal something together, and honestly, it probably won't be complete or correct simply because you probably don't have the internal resources with the skill set to properly do this. Or you could partner with a qualified IT security team who really live and breathe this stuff every day. So it's like, do you want to wake up tomorrow morning thinking that everything's fine and it won't happen to you? And of course, you're going to have to inevitably react accordingly when it does. Or do you want to make that definitive decision today to be proactive and help ensure that you're not going to be the next victim? You're not going to be the next one in front of a cybersecurity magazine. Well, we can help you, but you need to let us. We can absolutely set you up with an ongoing, reputable, reliable, comprehensive, customer-centric, forward-thinking, monitoring, administering, managing IT security and risk mitigation team tomorrow, but only if you're ready. You've got to take that first step, and it's a big step. We understand this. This stuff is new to most people, but we'll be there with you throughout the entire process. We will absolutely help you in any and every way that we can. Again, we'd love to have you. Book a call with one of our team members today, and we can get right to work making sure that you're on the winning side of this equation. I'll go ahead and drop the link in the chat so you can get started as early as this week. So after all this, you might be wondering what it's really like to work with us. Like, why us? Well, you should choose us because we're different. We are cybersecurity focused. We've been in the cyber game longer than most. We are well ahead of the curve. We can secure your environment without slowing it down, and we're dedicated to your well-being and happiness. We know that by us doing our jobs well, you can rest easier, sleep better, and go home earlier to your family. Have a clear focus when you're working on your business and not just in it, and have a better, in general, more stress-free life. And that's why we're here. That's why I started this company over 2 decades ago. Frankly, I got tired of people working with inferior IT firms. Just got tired of people seeing or not realizing what they weren't getting and what they could be getting to actually protect our organizations. That's when I decided to build this organization that gives all these tools and controls to you. Like I said, our mission is growth through technology, through best in class security and a white glove approach to support. We aim to grow your revenues, freeing you and allowing you to focus on what matters so you can get back to working on your business and not just in it. Now, I do want to disclose, if you're shopping for the cheapest guys in town, that's not us. We're not the cheapest guys around, and we know that. And we're okay with that because for those of you that are serious about your business, you're serious about your risk, you're serious about the growth and investment in a qualified IT security team to help you safeguard your assets, we are the most equipped and most prepared. And I think the most fun to work with. So you ready to book your cyber strategy session? Ready to take the next step? Well, game on. Trust us, you're going to be coming out on top of your competition. So just please click on the link in the chat or visit the address on your screen. Now you'll be taken to our site where you can schedule your strategy call immediately. Our calendar is already starting to fill up for next month, so we really want to make sure that we get you booked up and get right to work on shoring up your business security. We need to actively be getting these processes and technological tool setups up and running as soon as possible. So the sooner you make the decision, the sooner we can start safeguarding your business, its data, and its people. We're so looking forward to helping you, and it all starts with that strategy call. So please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you and talk about what it is we can do for you, your business, and your peace of mind. You will seriously sleep better at night knowing you've got a competent IT security team watching over your business 24/7. So we're offering a special today for all the attendees of the webinar. We're going to go ahead and give you a $250 off of your cybersecurity risk assessment. So when you call up and we get it on our strategy call, please be sure to mention that you were on the 3 p.m. December 2021 call of 2023. And we will make sure to get you that discount in place. Okay, so now's the time where we kind of go ahead and look for some questions in the chat. All right, doesn't look like I have any questions in the chat right now. So we can go ahead and wrap up. Give you guys a few minutes of your day back here. Looks like we finished up in about 45 minutes today. So yeah, I would just like to take this opportunity to thank you all for coming, taking time out of your day to hear what we had to say to you today. Please take the opportunity, book a call with us. Decide you don't want to go any further than that, then no harassment from us. We won't bother you. But I think it's something that everybody should be doing. So again, thank you for your time and happy holidays. Hope to talk soon.